Hi, welcome to this episode of Shift. I'm your host, Palmonia Gordon. Thank you for joining us today. Today, I have a question for you. What is your position? I don't understand. I am asking you, what is your position in life? What have you been positioned to do? Many of us are not aware that we have an assignment that we have been given. We have been placed where we are, how we are, in the position that we are for a reason. And once the time is ready for us to step into or fulfill our assignment, everything comes to life and makes sense. Thanks for joining. Palmonia Gordon, background corporate America, mom of 5, an author. I have 2 books that are on Amazon. One is called Make the Shift to Success. That's my latest book. It's phenomenal. Check it out. And the other one is called Order It, the Power of Your Thoughts. How we can basically design how we do design our life. Now, in talking to you about position, I was going through and I'm recognizing that throughout history, people were strategically placed for an appointment time. And by going through history, I was talking about the Bible. When I looked at Moses was placed, not Moses. Moses, yes, Moses was placed in Pharaoh, right in the palace with the Pharaoh who was to oppress them into slavery. Likewise, Joseph was placed in Pharaoh's palace. And who's the third person I had? David. David is also anointed and placed in the palace. Now, what's funny about these 3 individuals are, while they were given the assignment, they were anointed and chosen by God to be in a special place for a special time. They couldn't just walk in and occupy and be in that position. They had a waiting period that they had to wait out, and they had to fight through to not give up and be overcome by whatever situation and circumstances was happening around them. Moses, can you believe, the little black boy, my spin on it, so don't go quote me, grew up right underneath the nose of the king. And as he rose up and he saw how his people was being oppressed, because what had happened was the king go, kill them little boy, because them coming too much. They're gonna overpower us. And he saw and he killed one of them, and then he ran away. Same thing. Joseph, he had the dream. This is what I see. This is what I'm going to be. But then he had to spend some years in prison. And at the appointed time, he was the only one that could interpret the king's dream. So then the king and Pharaoh turned and said to him, well, since you're the one that figured out my dream, why don't you do what it's saying to do? Which his vision was that for 7 years, there's going to be a lot of food in the land. And then for 7 years, there'd be no food. So the mission was to build barn in those 7 years of plenty, to set aside enough for the 7 years of lack. And the same thing with David. He was anointed to be king, but Saul was still on the throne. So he couldn't become king. And Saul hated him. And he had to run and hide and live in the mountains and in the caves. But Saul had an evil spirit that would come upon him. And when that spirit came upon him, guess what? David was the only person who could play the harp enough to calm and soothe him. I said that and I got goosebumps. What is the position you have, Shift Nation? We have been positioned and placed at a place for a time like now. To be able to calm someone, to be able to get ready to lead someone, to be able to build the barn and to prepare the food and the storehouse for what's to come. Are we paying attention? Have you ever thought about it? Have you ever noticed it? Have you ever even wondered about it? I want you to pay attention. I want you to look. I want you to go ahead, give me my thumbs up, subscribe, like, check out my book on Amazon.com or .ca. Make the shift to success. It's a phenomenal book. I made it simple. I made it relatable. And I make it so you can write your notes. So if you need help to finding out, have I been assigned a position? You can, by going through that book, recognize what your position is and then make the shift. Remember, shift is about taking simple, tiny moves. 60 tiny moves that the second hand moves before it becomes a minute. And then the minute likewise has to do 60 tiny moves before it becomes an hour. I'm asking you, Shift Nation, to shift into your position. If you don't know what your position is, to take time to find out and recognize, what is my position? What am I supposed to do? What am I here for? And then take time and prepare and be ready for when the time comes that you can shift right into that. I'm open. I'm always looking for speaking opportunities. I'm looking for customers who are business entrepreneur and they need someone who can coach and mentor them through the process. Because believe me, that's one of the hardest process to start. When you start a business and to keep motivated and to keep going and to find out all the pitfalls. I'm here. I'm happy to give a strategy session that are complimentary. Just something to help guide you and move you along. So who do you know? Have them connect with me, palmoniagordon.com or palmoniag@gmail.com. Thank you. I love you. Have a good day.